Hi everybody, welcome back to our kitchen. Today we have a lot of things planned. These videos will probably come out broke up because I'm afraid otherwise that stuff is going to get a little too long. But to give you guys an idea of what we have coming up, today we are going to make a sourdough discard banana bread recipe. We are going to start making some lard, so we're going to cut up some pig fat from our pigs that we butchered in November, and we are going to take you through that process. And we've got some dinner thawing on the back counter. I thought maybe we would take you through dinner. So again, we've got lots of stuff planned for today, and they'll probably come out in separate videos, just because otherwise I'm afraid stuff is going to get a little too long, and we don't want to bore you guys. So we're going to get started with the sourdough discard banana bread recipe. This is a new recipe for me. Sorry, you can probably hear the bird singing. So we're going to start with that. Hopefully these bananas aren't too far gone. But we got our scale out. I'm going to use my KitchenAid bowl and let that do the work for me while I can get some other stuff done. And we're going to start with, it said 3 medium bananas. I can't be the only one that likes to do the majority of my kitchen stuff on like one day. If I know I'm going to be making the kitchen a mess, I'm like, we might as well make the kitchen a big mess. So we can just clean it up and just get everything done at once instead of doing little bits here and there. And I'm going to save these peels because our rabbits love them. That is something else I would like to get done. We have some rabbits that are in need of dispatch. So, depending upon how much we get done today, we might be doing that too. But that probably won't be something I'll take you guys along on. Alright, so 3 bananas, about 140 grams of starter. I had her in the fridge because I did not need to bake anything else with her. So we're going to do 140 grams of discard, give or take. Then we'll feed her too. Oh, that was a little extra. That's all right. Close enough. So we'll set her aside so she can warm up. We'll feed her later. Maybe we'll even make a loaf of regular bread. Alright, and this calls for 100 grams of neutral oil. I don't really like to use vegetable oil, and the last time I used butter in a banana bread recipe, it got a little too greasy. So I am going to try using butter, but instead of using 100 grams of melted butter, I'm going to try to use 80 and just see where that gets us. Again, I have not made this recipe before. This is kind of trial and error that I'm going to take you guys along with. The last time I used butter instead of oil, it also didn't rise as nice. So we're going to give that a try and see how that goes today. And if we fail, we fail. It'll probably still taste good. It just might not look pretty. But this is real life. Not everything works perfect every time you do it, right? Alright, so we're going to measure out some butter. And I think I'm going to need some more. I need a little bowl. We are indeed going to need some more. Alright, let's get this melting up here. Get this back on our scale. Alright, and this also calls for brown sugar. I don't buy brown sugar anymore because all brown sugar is sugar with molasses. So I have a tendency to make my own brown sugar. I am currently out, so we're just going to put our sugar in there and dump a little molasses in there, and we're going to call that good. Oh no, what do you mean? Oh no. get our butter in here. It is almost ready. I'm going to drain off what's melted. Throw the rest back in the microwave. Oh, our scale timed out. We had to put you guys on hold because I dropped a whole bunch of milk all over the floor. I'm full of milk. We had to wipe up the floor quick. Alright, let's get this zeroed out again and ready to go. Wonderful. And we're going to get our sugar in there right away too. This calls for 200 grams worth of sugar. Seems like a lot of sugar, but we'll see. Maybe we'll go just a little short because I have a husband who doesn't like stuff super sweet. So we'll go 175 to start. And it did call for brown sugar. Instead, I just use a great big gallon of blackstrap molasses. And I just pour it in there. Brown sugar. Wonderful. Alright, the rest of our butter. Whoa. And I'm going to throw this into the KitchenAid and get this blended real good, real fast. Alright, and we're back. Get this zeroed out again on our scale. Alright, butter, sugars. We need 2 eggs, some vanilla. These are eggs from our chickens, and you can see here somebody has just started laying. We've got some littler eggs. Always exciting. Oh, eggshell down. I think I got it. Two eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla. So we'll need the cups too. Might as well just drag it all out. So this is vanilla that we made ourselves, and maybe in a future video we'll take you along how we made this vanilla. So I always just give it a good shake, get all those beans mixed up real good. The lid gets to be awful hard to take off. There we go. This is, I made this over a year ago, so this has sat for almost a year, and it is delicious. This is a rum-started vanilla. We made rum, vodka, and a bourbon vanilla, and the rum has so far been our favorite. The flavor is just delicious, and it smells, oh my goodness, it smells amazing. 2 eggs, vanilla, flour, and then we have our dry ingredients. So I'm going to give this a blend, and we'll add our dry ingredients then. And now we need 250 grams worth of flour. And I keep my flour in a 5-gallon tub because we go through a lot of flour. I'm going to zero out the scale, and 250 grams of flour. So that was probably close to about a cup and a half-ish. There we go. And then we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda. My teaspoon is dirty, so we're going to use our half teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. One teaspoon of salt. And 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, so we'll do a light half teaspoon of cinnamon. Alright, so we got that good and incorporated. My favorite way to make banana bread isn't in a big loaf unless we're taking it someplace. I prefer to use this little loaf pan because then they freeze real well. And they're the perfect size for just for a snack. So we are going to get this paddle taken out of here. We're going to grease our loaf pan. I had to take all the cast iron out of the oven again. If you are a cast iron user, where do you store your cast iron? We have come to a habit of keeping everything in the oven as our collection grows. So if you are a cast iron user, where do you store your cast iron? Greased. Do you guys tend to use a spray to grease your pans or butter like we do? So as I mentioned before, we are going to freeze these. So what I typically do is I'll make a batch of whatever it may be, banana bread or cranberry pumpkin bread or whatever it is. And I will bake them in this little pan, and then I pull them out of the oven and let them cool completely on a wire rack, and then I will actually vacuum seal them and put them in the freezer. And they freeze very well. You just pull them out and let them thaw, and it's like having fresh baked banana bread whenever you want it. So that's what we are going to do today. We have our oven preheating to 350 degrees, and let's get these filled in. Alright, now into the oven for the recipe for a regular sized loaf pan calls for 50 to 60 minutes, so we'll probably check on these in about a half hour, 45 minutes, and we'll go from there. And while that finishes cooking, we decided to make us up some lunch. I love me a good cast iron. Our bread appears to be rising well. Let's see if we can take a peek. Looking pretty good so far. I might have to take a toothpick and test them. They're looking pretty brown already. So 20 minutes wasn't quite long enough, and 30 minutes was almost a little too long. So we'll let these cool off in here for a little bit, and then we will take them out and put them on a wire rack so they can cool. And then we'll vacuum seal them when they're all cool and ready to get put in the freezer.
So hindsight was kind of 20/20 with this recipe. As I had said before, 20 minutes was too soon to take them out of the oven, but 30 minutes was definitely a little too long. Looking back, we really enjoyed this recipe. We would definitely make it again. We just need to work on the timing on when to pull these mini loaves out of the oven.
And just like that, they pop out of that pan so easy. I love this pan. But there we have it. We're going to let them cool. And after they've cooled down, we'll try one and then we'll vacuum seal them. Our mini banana breads have more than cooled. They are not going to last long. They are Toddler approved. We went ahead and decided to frost 4 of them. They were a big hit with the little, so we are going to leave 4 of them out. And we are going to vacuum seal and throw in the freezer the other 3. So let's get that done real quick. And I think you guys have seen the vacuum sealer a couple of times now. We are a big fan of this one. I like that it has the roll storage underneath. I started using this a lot more during gardening season now, so I really like that I can freeze my stuff in here and have less of a chance of freezer burn. There we go. And so now this is going to make quite a bit of noise. It has settings for dry and moist, and when I do something like a bread, I get it to a point where it's just kind of starting to squeeze in on the bread, but I don't let it go all the way. Otherwise you end up with really flat bread. So we're gonna let this go. And that'll sit and seal, and that will help keep our bread fresh and not get freezer burnt or taste anything like the freezer. So that's how we process these. I just put a nice little date on the corner. And then I will throw these in the freezer. And whenever we want to have a loaf of basically fresh baked banana bread, we'll pull these out of the freezer. You can warm them up in the microwave or warm them up in the oven again. They freeze really well, especially this way, I've noticed. Just regular Ziploc bags will do. They just don't last quite as long. So thanks so much for joining us as we made our sourdough banana bread in mini loaves, of course, because they are our favorite. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen, and we will catch you next time.